So another Hogg's vlog, and we're going to talk about the Siraj Head altercation. Boomer taking on Labuschagne on the night of day one. Labuschagne's technique as well as Kohli's technique. And Kohli's coming in out last because, hey, I want you to stay on and stay tuned in this Hogg's vlog. Just being a little bit cheeky. But the Head Siraj altercation. We've got to go through the whole day there. Now, Travis Head was the player that was going to turn this game on its head on day two, where it was easier for batting. And he was scoring freely. When he was on about 76, Australia were 228, he's taken on Ashwin. He's hit Ashwin for a couple of sixes throughout the innings, but this was a big moment. Siraj is under the ball, he drops it, a catch that he probably should have taken. And then a couple of moments later, Rana's bowled to Head, he's taking him on, got an outside edge, and it's gone through first slip where they didn't have one. They had a floating second slip and a keeper. That was because of the pressure that Travis Head was putting the Indian bowlers under. So all of that build-up was causing extra frustration for Siraj when he came back into the attack and Head was hitting to its boundaries quite freely. And just before Siraj got the big wicket of Head, Head's hit him off a good length. It was a decent ball, swung in on that good length over square leg, for six. What a shot it was. Then a couple of balls later, he's bowled the Yorker, got Head out, and he couldn't help himself. He gave Head a quick little word, and Travis Head didn't like it. He gave him a chirp back. Then Siraj has gone, on your bike, mate, on your bike. And Travis Head decided to give him a couple of extra words as well. I don't mind this because you've got the emotion. Siraj is under pressure. Head was batting well. It was a big moment of the game. They needed that wicket. And it just shows the passion that both players have for their team, wanting to put their team in a winning position. They wanted to do the best for their team. So I don't mind it as long as it's short and sharp, and whatever's set out in the middle, leave it out in the middle. I think Siraj made a few comments to reporters afterwards, what was said out there, and Head made a few comments that he just said, oh look, well bowled. Obviously he didn't say just well bowled, but he tried to keep it as quiet and calm as possible, whereas Siraj said no, he said more than that. Whatever's set out in the field, leave it out in the field after the game. And if there are altercations which have caused a little bit of strain on the relationship, we'll sort it out straight after that day's play. That's the best way to do it, because we still want to see players show that emotion out in the middle, as long as it's not over the top and too aggressive. I think this altercation between Head and Siraj was okay and was within the boundaries. So hopefully the ICC and the match referee don't do anything about it. If it went a little bit further, well, yes. Okay, now I want to talk about the first evening. Labuschagne coming out and facing Boomer. He's walking out, he's under pressure. He's forgot his chewing gum. When he was batting his best and he was number one in the world, he used to have this chewing gum where he could blow bubbles while he was batting. It just took or helped him with his mindset, but he didn't have the chewing gum. He scored the 12th man out, and he's popped the chewing gum in just before he's got the crease, and he's facing the number one bowler in the world. The intent was there. He showed straight away that he was willing to get forward and just bunt Boomer. He was willing to leave as well. Those first four balls that he's faced were crucial. The one that beat the outside edge as well. Boomer is coming down smiling, and Labuschagne's just giving it, well bowled, I'm here for the contest. You knew that he was switched on. And the way that Labuschagne and McSweeney batted that evening was sensational. India didn't bowl enough out the stumps like they did in Perth. And if they did bowl out those stumps, they would have created more opportunities, but they didn't. They allowed McSweeney and Labuschagne to leave too many balls. And there were a few balls that were just left that were missing the off stump by about that much and going over the off stump by about that much. Both batsmen had hawk-eye vision. And it was crucial that they did, and not play out balls that they didn't have to, and give India opportunities to get those edges when the ball was moving around in the air and off the wicket, because they didn't want to expose Travis Head that evening, and that was a turning point in the test match and could be a turning point in the series. So Labuschagne and McSweeney's little partnership in the evening of day one was crucial. And if we look at the evening session on day two, when India batted, they weren't prepared to leave the ball. They wanted to play out everything, and they paid the price. And we're going to move on to Labuschagne's technique. Before we go on to Labuschagne's technique, the pressure that he was under, he would have wanted to feel bat on ball in that evening session. And to have the willpower, the mindset, just to leave the ball as much as possible and try and spend as much time out in the middle was crucial, and it set him up for day two to go on and make that wonderful 50 that he did, and sort of wear the bowlers down so that Travis Head could really take the Indian attack apart. But if we look at Labuschagne's technique quickly, if we look in the first test match, we can see that he was overbalancing. When he was setting up and moving across, his weight was on the back leg, then he was sort of on the back leg, and then he was trying to catch up by getting as far forward as he possibly can, but that movement far forward with the weight back was causing him to overbalance, and he was falling across. He wasn't in a solid position. But we go to the second test match there in Adelaide, you can see that his stance is in a more solid position. He's leaning forward, he's looking to get forward, that's going towards the ball. That's why he batted a lot better in the second test match than his first, and he's starting to look like the batsman that we saw when he was #1 in the world. Now let's go to Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli, I've just noticed, going back to 2019 or 18 when he came over and made a wonderful 120 on in Perth. His back foot was across, but he was in a standing position where he was in a stronger position. The elbow was pointing more to the bowler, the hands were in close, the back lift was a lot straighter. He was looking to get forward. That back leg moved across as the bowler was about to let go of the ball, but he didn't move the front leg until the bowler had let go of the ball. Then his body weight is going into the line of the ball, and you can see the back elbow above his head back in 2018-19 when he made that wonderful 100 out Perth Optus Stadium. The weight was going forward, but you look at the weight now, he's a little bit squarer out the top there. You can't see that back elbow above his head when he's facing the bowlers. So he's slightly changed that technique. He's more front on as the bowler's letting go of the ball. You go back to Perth when he's facing Hazlewood, he gets a short ball outside of off stump there, he's backing across, he's in a solid position, he's right behind the ball, the head's behind the ball, and he's punching it out to cover with a high elbow. Whereas the dismissal in Perth to Hazlewood, he's backing across, but his head's not behind it and he's pushing out the ball. That's because he's laid on it as well, and the elbow's not in that solid position. That's why he's being caught, and he finishes up front on rather than side on. Then we move down towards, or we go to the second test match where he got out to Scott Boland in that first innings. Now, before we get, as we see here with Scott Boland, he's not getting that front foot across quick enough. He's pushing out the ball, and his elbow is not solid. So his body weight's not going through the ball or the line of the ball. But we go back to Perth, again he's facing Hazlewood here. This ball is on the same line and around about the same length as the one that he got out on against Scott Boland in Adelaide. And you can see that front foot, the body weight transfer is still going through the ball out the point of contact, and that elbow is higher and more solid, and you can see the bat face has a more solid foundation as well. So they're the little things that Virat Kohli's got to look at moving forward into the third test match. If he doesn't get that right, Australia will expose that more front-on approach that Virat Kohli's got right now, and he won't have as big an impact as India would like moving forward in this test series. He's got to make runs. They can't just rely on Jaswal, Gill and Pant to make all the runs. I hope you enjoyed that vlog. And if you've got any other comments that you'd like to make about the second test match and the techniques of Labuschagne and Kohli, get them downstairs. I want your point of view. Thanks guys for joining me.